do the work for us behind the scenes every day. It truly takes a village.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
Okay. As negotiations continue between the WNBA and WNBA PA on a new CBA Sports Business Journal reported the Players Association plans to reject the league's latest offer. Guys, are we headed towards a lockout? Because they're daring billionaires.
It takes a once-in-a-generation star to lift a whole league in just 6 months, only to be treated like she's worth less than someone running a drive-through window, and people are shocked at how long she was underpaid. The disrespect was wild, and everyone could feel it. For months, the math wasn't adding up, and the silence coming out of the Indiana Fever front office felt louder than any press conference. That quiet finally cracked when the WNBA Players Association dropped a bomb and opted out of the collective bargaining agreement 2 years early. The message is clear. Those days of settling for scraps are done, and insiders are whispering that the Fever know exactly who has the real power now. The league thought they were running the show, but they just got hit with a reality check big enough to shake every corner office in the building. Even WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, who's been catching heat for months, is reportedly shocked by how bold this move was. She assumed she had time to smooth things over, time to run the same old corporate routine. But she forgot one crucial factor. Caitlyn Clark didn't just show up with fans, she showed up with leverage. Now, Indiana Fever general manager Amber Cox and the whole organization look like they're done playing soft. They understand they're holding the golden goose, and if the league can't build a golden cage, that superstar energy is ready to take flight. Every team in the league felt that warning shot. To really understand why this moment hit so hard, you gotta look straight at the numbers that set off this whole storm. When Caitlyn Clark signed her rookie deal, the headline wasn't some big $1 million figure. Nope, it was around $76,000. In pro sports, that's basically spare change. And people everywhere were grabbing their calculators like, how does someone packing entire arenas make the same as a standard office salary? The gap was so wild that casual fans were calling it robbery. But the problem wasn't just the salary, it was the stiff, outdated contract system locking her into it. The current collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, was signed back in 2020 when the league was in a totally different world. Viewership was small, revenue wasn't growing, and players were just trying to secure basic stability. They had to focus on guaranteed maternity benefits and standard protections because honestly, the revenue wasn't strong enough back then to argue about sharing profits. Everything was survival mode, and nobody could have predicted the explosion that stars like Caitlyn Clark would bring. Fast forward to right now, and the Clark effect has completely blown up every old prediction the league ever had. Viewership on ESPN is up around 170%. Merch is flying off shelves in record time. And the new media rights deal is sitting at a massive $2.2 billion over 11 years. The whole pie exploded in size overnight, but the players were still being handed crumbs. This is where Fever GM Amber Cox steps in with that veteran brain power. She's old school, respected, and has watched entire eras of basketball rise and fall. So she knows the deal. You protect your star, you build around your star, and you keep your star happy. Even though she hasn't stepped up to a microphone and yelled it out loud, her moves and the team's energy make it clear. They're riding with Clark's silent push for change. The Fever know their value in the league shot up the moment Caitlyn Clark put on that number 22 jersey. If a lockout hits in 2026, or worse, if the league's decisions push Clark to take her talent somewhere else, the Fever go from the center of basketball culture straight back to being overlooked. Cox basically confirmed the urgency through how hard the team backed the opt-out, showing they're tired of watching the league drop opportunities. But here's the truth. This isn't just about money. If the environment were solid and everyone was acting fair, maybe the players would have waited. But the vibe this season was far from safe or steady. All year long, fans watched Caitlyn Clark take hits that would have triggered suspensions and fines in the NBA. No debate about it. This wasn't just tough defense, it crossed into plays that had nothing to do with basketball. The hip check by Chennedy Carter turned into the moment everyone talked about. And it wasn't just a foul, it was a message. And what did the league do after that? They hesitated, argued behind the scenes, and let the conversation spin out online until it turned toxic. Some veterans and media voices tried to paint it as welcome to the league energy, or that Clark needed to earn her stripes, but that ignores the fact that she's the one packing the seats they're playing in. Jealous tension became the giant elephant sitting right in the middle of the WNBA offices. You had players mocking her, taking cheap shots, and stirring up chaos online, all while the commissioner stayed quiet and watched the fire grow. The lack of protection from league leadership sent a loud message straight to Caitlyn Clark's camp. It felt like the WNBA wanted her fame, wanted her massive fan base, but wasn't willing to protect the very player boosting the entire league. That leads us right to the commissioner herself, Cathy Engelbert.
And I say that not in any kind of derogatory way. She was talking about Cathy Engelbert directly. She revealed private conversations, you understand, with quotes from this lady, the commissioner, about what she said that came across as dismissive, as derogatory, and unappreciative of the athletes that represent her league. And then the person I call the golden goose of the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark, you understand, who is box office for the WNBA. Just look at the numbers, look at the ratings, look at everything.
If you want the exact moment players started losing trust, look directly at her CNBC interview. It was supposed to be a celebration, a moment to brag about the huge crowds, rising numbers, and new spotlight on the league. Instead, it flipped into a PR nightmare the second she was asked about the toxic online battles, especially the racial tension being pushed between fans of Caitlyn Clark and fans of Angel Reese. When Engelbert was given a chance to shut down the hate, she blanked. Instead of calling out the negativity, she delivered a soft, corporate-style answer about rivalries being good for business. And that sealed it. Players were heated, and the WNBA Players Association, led by Terry Jackson, fired back with a strong statement saying the commissioner failed her moral responsibility. They felt Engelbert was so focused on numbers, deals, and data that she completely forgot about the actual people who play the game.
Today, she's worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. And Cathy, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
For Caitlyn Clark, someone who's tried hard to keep her head out of loud culture battles and just hoop, seeing the commissioner brush off the toxic environment must have hit hard. It showed her that league leadership wasn't tuned in to what players were dealing with day to day. And the Fever organization, seeing their star being dragged into drama she didn't ask for, while the commissioner smiled about rivalries, knew something had to shift. But here's the twist, the part of the story that has league executives sweating. While the WNBA was stumbling around with their biggest attraction, a new challenger stepped onto the scene. Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier founded a new off-season league called Unrivaled, a 3-on-3 league with a modern business mindset. And unlike the WNBA, Unrivaled isn't talking like they're broke. They're offering 6-figure minimum contracts and, even bigger, equity. That means players actually get ownership, real stakes in the league they're helping build. Rumors have been rolling around that Unrivaled is gearing up to make a Lionel Messi-style offer to bring Clark in, and this offer could outpay her entire 4-year WNBA contract in just one season. This is the kind of leverage that flips the whole industry upside down. Suddenly, Caitlyn Clark doesn't have to rely on the WNBA for financial security or competitive hoops. If a lockout hits in 2026 or the negotiations turn ugly, she already has a powerful alternative waiting. She has options, she has a safety outlet, and Fever GM Amber Cox knows exactly what that means. Amber Cox understands the math loud and clear. If Unrivaled drops an offer, giving Caitlyn Clark a smooth $1 million for just 3 months of hooping, while the WNBA hands her around $76,000 for 5 months of getting knocked around on the court, that choice becomes almost too easy. The simple fact that Unrivaled exists gives players the power to walk away, and that flips the whole power structure on its head. For years, the WNBA depended on being the only major option for women's basketball in the States. If you didn't play there, you were hopping across the world to Europe or China just to make real money. But now, a player can stay in Miami, run 3-on-3, get paid big, and skip the exhausting globe-hopping grind. That alone changes everything. And since we're talking about exhausting, let's break down the travel drama, because this is a major reason why Clark and the Fever are pushing back so hard. WNBA players were flying commercial for years, crammed into tiny seats while trying to recover from back-to-back games. Now imagine someone who's 6 feet 4 inches dealing with that. Then imagine Caitlyn Clark, one of the most famous athletes on the planet, trying to walk through a public airport line with crowds waiting for her. It quickly turned into a real safety concern. Fans followed her, crowds rushed her, and people even tracked her flights online, which created dangerous situations. And what did the league do? They hesitated again, just like with everything else. They held off on charter flights for years, claiming the cost was too high, and only agreed after public pressure became embarrassing. It was another moment where the league reacted late instead of showing leadership. Meanwhile, the Fever had to practically push the league to tighten security around Clark, which only stretched the divide between the organization and the league office. So when news broke that the players officially opted out of the CBA, it wasn't just a negotiation tactic. It was a full-on announcement that the old system is done. The Caitlyn Clark rules aren't optional requests anymore. They're expectations. These include full charter flights for every team, professional security support, and a fair slice of revenue for the players who are driving the business. And the message is simple. If these demands don't get met, players are ready to tear down the old structure and rebuild from scratch. The commissioner's shock almost feels unreal to anyone who's been paying attention. How could she not see this boiling up? You have one of the most marketable athletes in sports history, and instead of treating her like a priority, you treated her like a complication. The league let the media pick Caitlyn Clark apart, let opponents take cheap shots without real consequences, and paid her basically nothing for the impact she brought. Amber Cox, the Fever GM, is probably looking straight at Cathy Engelbert like, "We warned you this would happen." Cox has been in basketball too long to watch her franchise superstar get mishandled without stepping in. By lining the Fever up with the players' demands, Cox is locking in the trust of her whole roster. She's showing them, "We ride with you, not the suits sitting in New York." That stance leads us straight into the real fear hanging in the air: a possible lockout. If the league and players don't reach a deal by the end of the 2025 season, those arena doors stay shut. No games, no TV money, no Caitlyn Clark lighting up the WNBA. That kind of shutdown would be disastrous. The league finally has the world watching, and momentum in sports is fragile. One labor strike can wipe out years of rising attention, and it doesn't always bounce back. The players understand this, but they also know this is the strongest position they've ever had. They're betting the league is way too hooked on the new revenue streams to risk ending the season.
You could push this, keep pushing this thing 6 weeks. Like, I think a deal has to be done by January. I'm hoping they're able to get one done.
It's a high-stakes showdown. On one side, you've got the league office trying to keep expenses tight and power in their hands. On the other side, you have a united squad of players, Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese, Brianna Stewart, and more, who know exactly what they bring to the table. And caught right in the middle is the Indiana Fever, a team that shot from the basement to the spotlight and is fighting hard to keep the momentum alive. But here's the part most people aren't talking about enough: the endorsement factor. Caitlyn Clark has a massive $28 million Nike deal, plus partnerships with Gatorade, State Farm, and Wilson. Her entire financial world sits outside the WNBA paycheck. That's why the idea of her walking away isn't just talk, it's a genuine possibility. Most players in the league need their WNBA income to stay afloat, but Clark isn't in that position at all. Her WNBA salary is basically pocket change to her. That financial freedom makes her one of the most powerful voices in the room for any negotiation with the commissioner. She can sit out, she can hold her ground. The real question is, can the WNBA survive if she does? Absolutely not. This power shift is something women's sports has never seen before. Normally, the league holds every card, but the entire Clark economy flipped the whole script. Merch sales are climbing like NBA numbers, and ticket prices for Indiana Fever games are soaring higher than some NBA playoff seats. Lynn Cox sees these numbers pouring in every night. She sees thousands of fans rocking that number 22 jersey with pride. She knows Caitlyn Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a movement, a cultural wave, a new era in the sport. And nobody tries to pinch pennies when a movement is carrying the whole league forward. The shocked commissioner headline is real because Cathy Engelbert is watching the narrative slip out of her hands. Players aren't just thankful to have a league anymore. They're stepping up to claim ownership of it. The opt-out isn't a small request. It's a demand for a brand new business model that treats players as partners instead of employees. And if the league pushes back too hard, Unrivaled is right there, arms open, checks ready, and fully prepared to grab the spotlight if the WNBA fumbles again. We also can't ignore the toll this season took on Clark, physically and mentally. She played a full college season, carried Iowa to the title game, got drafted instantly, and walked straight into a condensed Olympic year WNBA schedule. By the playoffs, the exhaustion was written all over her face. The scheduling was rough, and the league put the Fever on national TV nearly every night, sometimes back-to-back, with travel delays in the middle. It was non-stop. The refusal of the current deal is also a stand for better working conditions. They want a schedule that respects how hard players push their bodies. They want recovery options that actually match the level of the sport. The Fever being knocked out of the playoffs hurt, but for Clark, it gave her something she hasn't had in years. Time. Time to breathe, time to talk with her people, time to think things through. And during that quiet window, her resolve to fight for something better only grew stronger. Clark's silence is intentional. She's not posting threads or jumping into social media chaos. She lets the union reps speak and lets her GM show clear support. It's a focused, mature strategy, one that worries the league more than any angry rant ever could. So what comes next? These negotiations are about to get intense. Owners are already preparing to claim financial struggle and point to past seasons of losses. The players are ready to fire back with the numbers. They're pointing at that $2.2 billion TV deal, the sold-out arenas, and the record merch sales as proof that the league is far from broke. And while this unfolds, Fever GM Amber Cox is working those quiet back-channel conversations to make sure whatever deal finally lands keeps Caitlyn Clark in Indiana and keeps her locked in with the city and the team she's lifting every night. Cox knows the championship window is wide open right now, but she also knows that window can slam shut fast if the off-court chaos doesn't get handled the right way. That's why 2025 is shaping up to feel like a season played under a storm cloud. Every game, every interview, every press moment will carry that heavy question underneath it. Is this the final stretch of the WNBA as we know it? Could the league split apart? Could the entire structure collapse under the pressure? The commissioner is staring at a massive job ahead. She has to somehow connect the old school owners, folks used to losing money and running things their way, with the new generation of stars who are bringing in billions and refusing to settle anymore. If Cathy Engelbert can't pull this off, her legacy won't be the growth of the WNBA. It'll be the commissioner who dropped the biggest opportunity in modern sports. Amber Cox has made her stance loud and clear by backing the push for change. The players made theirs even louder when they opted out. Now the league has the ball in its hands, and the whole world is watching. They can modernize, increase pay, and protect their stars, or they can watch Unrivaled swoop in and grab the spotlight while the WNBA fades into the background. And that sparks the real question everyone is whispering. Does Caitlyn Clark actually need the WNBA, or does the league need her way more? The fans, the numbers, and the Fever front office seem to agree on the answer. The power dynamic flipped, and for the first time in ages, the players are the ones driving the bus. The commissioner's stunned expression is just her realizing that this ride is about to get rough. But that's not the full story. The money and disrespect headlines are loud, but there's a deeper layer to why the Fever organization is practically encouraging this revolt. It ties back to the locker room tension that leaked midway through the season. Rumors started spreading that the tension wasn't only coming from opponents, It was coming from the league itself. The WNBA's marketing strategy pushed the Caitlyn Clark show so hard that it unintentionally isolated her from her peers. And when resentment started bubbling up, the league never stepped in to manage it. This circles right back to Amber Cox. A GM's job is chemistry, keeping the team bonded, connected, and focused. But how do you build chemistry when the league is basically painting a giant target on your rookie's back? Cox saw the emotional toll this isolation was putting on Clark. By supporting the players' opt-out, the Fever are trying to level the financial playing field so resentment about pay stops building. If everyone gets paid properly, the jealousy around endorsements cools off. That's the strategy. It's a 4D chess play from Cox. If the whole league gets richer, players stop side-eyeing Clark for being the only one pulling in huge deals. And we can't ignore Angel Reese's part in all this. The media loves pushing a rivalry story between her and Clark, but behind those boardroom doors, their interests line up perfectly. Reese has big endorsements, a massive following, and she's also being underpaid by the current system. The rivalry disappears the minute the union meetings start. The league's attempt to stoke fan base battles backfired hard because it ended up uniting the star rookies against the very system keeping their pay low. They looked at each other and realized, why are we fighting for scraps when we're the ones cooking the whole meal? The next few months are about to turn into a full-on masterclass in sports power chess. Owners will start dropping quiet leaks to reporters trying to make the players look greedy so they can control the story. And you can bet we'll see articles pop up claiming the league still isn't profitable, even with all this new revenue coming in. But the Fever are watching all this unfold with sharp eyes, ready to shield their star and push for the changes they know the league can't run from anymore. The truth is simple. The players aren't scared anymore, and the league can't pretend nothing's changing. Every move from here on out is going to shape the future of women's basketball, and the stars know their value louder than ever. The WNBA walked into this moment thinking they had control, but now the whole power structure is shifting right under their feet. The Fever are standing firm, the union is locked in, and Caitlyn Clark is sitting in the strongest position any athlete in league history has ever held. One wrong move from the league office, and everything flips in an instant. That's why the tension feels electric. Everybody knows the next decision could rewrite the entire sport. And while the commissioner scrambles to keep the walls from cracking, the players are finally calling the shots. This isn't a quiet request anymore. This is a full demand for respect, proper pay, real protection, and a future they get to shape themselves. The stars built the momentum, and now they want ownership of what they helped create. The league can either step into the new era or get left behind while Unrivaled and the players take the spotlight somewhere else. Because at this point, the question isn't whether Caitlyn Clark needs the WNBA. It's whether the WNBA can survive without her. And if you want every twist and every behind-the-scenes detail before it blows up online, stay tapped into Courtside leaks where the real stories hit first. We've got every angle covered, every leak, every backstage twist, every moment they won't show you. Hit like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video. Stay locked in with Courtside Leaks, your home for the truth behind the WNBA headlines.